They said free the Palestinians. Then these other races gon' take us serious. They don't. It's silly thinking you can fight oppression with a vote. I'm so woke, I got sleep deprivation. Belly of the beast giving birth to a nation. You know how I feel to have culture and they take it. It'll never be peace. Tell them free the reservation. Till it's backwards. They don't know that sentenced for killing. He was just a boy. Niggas poor, what we living for? Life a gamble. It's like 10 or 4. Police hands around your neck, they just hit record. We in war, man, this ain't the norm. But you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know. Mama on the stage crying. She just lost her only son to gang violence. Pops level 4 yard talking through the fence. Have you ever tried to hug your loved ones through a fence? Have you ever been hated just because your skin? Have you ever worked on They said free the Palestinians, then celebrate the death of Native Indians. How these other races gon' take us serious? They don't. It's silly thinking you can fight oppression with a vote. I'm so woke, I got sleep deprivation. Belly of the beast giving birth to a nation. You know how I feel to have culture and they take it. It'll never be peace. Tell them free the reservation. Till it's backwards. They don't know that they exist no more. Ever try reaching out for help and you just get ignored? Pick up vices like drugs, your child fill a void. They get a youth life sentence for killing. He was just a boy. Niggas poor, what we living for? Life a gamble, it's like 10 or 4. Police hands around your neck, they just hit record. We in war, man, this ain't the norm. But you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know. Mama on the stage crying. She just lost her only son to gang violence. Pops level 4 yard talking through the fence. Have you ever tried to hug your loved ones through a fence? Have you ever been hated just because your skin? Have you ever worked all week and couldn't pay your rent? Life a trip, try and catch my balance. Every step like I'm walking backwards. Credit card, but God check the. They want you to fall weak, that's a war tactic. Look how we live, what's scary than that? What you know about crossing the Darien Gap? Risk your life to live in hell or bury your kids. Either way, we gotta suffer and they just get rich. Life a bitch, why waste time telling you that? Cause if you ain't a nigga like me, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how I feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know. out for help and you just get ignored. Pick up vices like drugs, a child fill a void. They get a youth life sentence for killing. He was just a boy. Niggas poor, what we living for? Life a gamble, it's like 10 to 4. Police hands around your neck, they just. You don't know how it feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how it feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how it feel to be black, no. Offense, have you ever been hated just because your skin? Have you ever worked all week and couldn't pay your rent? Life a trip to try and catch my balance. Every step feel like I'm walking backwards. Credit card, but gotta check the balance. I come from where it's rough, that's why my heart callous. They want you to fall weak, that's a war tactic. Look how we live, what's scary than that? What you know about crossing the Darien Gap? Risk your life to live in hell or bury your kids. Either way we gotta suffer and they just get rich. Life a bitch, why waste time telling you that? Cause if you ain't a yeah, you don't know how it feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how it feel to be black. Yeah, you don't know how it feel to be black.
Shalom Israel, Shalom Israel. Yahweh Shemal Shabrak a thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shemal a thumb by Shemal shout to the sisters. I'm Priest Officer Karan Yala, the IHBK under Commanding General Yana. And this is the Wednesday night law / history class, right? So of course, hold on, slide here. We're gonna just jump straight into it. You understand? If brothers and sisters are familiar with what's been going on in recent news, right? Young brother Carmelo Anthony, 17 years old at the time of the incident, you understand, was just found guilty and received a 35-year sentence, you understand, for unaliving another 17-year-old Caucasian male, you understand, in self-defense, right? Now, the facts of the case are, the facts of this case, of course, the white man is the devil, you understand? So the only thing that we can go off of is the evidence, you understand, that's being presented, and not necessarily the testimony of the witnesses, because the majority of the witnesses that they interviewed, you understand, and that sat on the stand were actually friends of the Caucasian fellows, the Caucasian fellow and his brother, right? But basically what happened is, Salakia. Basically what happened was, this brother Carmelo Anthony, you understand, was at a school event. Excuse me, at a school event, right? And due to it being a rainy season, what? Due to it being a rainy season and the weather being a rainy day that day, the brother Carmelo Anthony took it upon itself to go sit in the opposite school's tent. Excuse me, tent to try to get out of the rain. You understand? So what happened was, he was approached by this Caucasian. Excuse me. He was approached by this Caucasian. One of his Caucasian peers from the opposite school, right? Not only was he approached by him, but of course, the Caucasian male had a twin brother. You understand? Excuse me. Salakia. So from what the reports were, the brother Carmelo Anthony was approached by, what was his name? Austin McCaff, I believe. Trying to get his name. Austin McCaff, which had a twin brother. Now, see. Yeah, Austin Metcalf, right? From what's being reported, right, is he was approached by Austin McCaff. You understand? Shalom, sir. Yabba Shema Shabagatah. He was approached by Austin McCaff. Now, of course, he was not alone. Shalom, sis Yahweh Shamar Latah by Hashem Yahweh Shah. He was not alone in his approach, you understand, to the brother Carmelo Anthony, right? Not only was he approached by Austin McCaff, I don't want to insinuate that his twin brother, approached him as well, but Azarwan, Yabashim Shabagatah, Thwada for tapping in, I appreciate you. I don't want to insinuate that his twin brother, you understand, approached him as well, but that's very likely. But what I do know is, according to the witnesses that were there, Austin McCaff was not the only person that said something to Carmelo Anthony about being in this tent. You understand? Furthermore, one of the witnesses testified that not only did Austin McCaff was not the only person that asked Carmelo to leave, Austin McCaff actually physically put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, and he tried to forcibly remove him out of the tent. Now, let me show y'all something real quick, right? Because, Salakia. One, Texas is a stand your ground state, all right? Let me show y'all something real quick. Texas is a stand your ground state, all right? Now I'm gonna show y'all what that stand your ground law consists of. Here in California, where we live, this is not a stand your ground state. We damn near ain't even got a self-defense law. You understand? You could unalive somebody that literally has a gun pointed to your head. You're going to prison in California, but it's not supposed to be that way in a lot of those southern states. Georgia being one of them. You understand? The brother Gucci man got off on a justifiable homicide due to Georgia being one of those type of states, or one of those states having a self-defense law. All right. Hold on, Salakia. Is this sharing? Okay. I don't know if y'all can see this, but I'm gonna read it for y'all, right? It says, stand your ground laws allow individuals to use force, including deadly force, in self-defense without a duty to retreat when they are lawfully present. Meaning, I'm going to read on. Definition and core principle. A stand your ground law is a legal principle that permits a person to defend themselves using force, including deadly force, if they reasonably believe it is necessary to prevent imminent death or serious bodily harm. Now keep that phrase serious bodily harm in mind, without first attempting to retreat from the situation. Unlike traditional self-defense laws, which often impose a duty to retreat, stand your ground statutes remove the obligation to withdraw when facing a threat, provided the individual is in a location where they have a legal right to be. Meaning, these stand your ground laws, you don't have a duty to retreat as far as self-defense during one of these stand your ground laws. In one of these stand your ground states. Now watch this. Remember, one of the witnesses said that that Austin Metcalf, he tried to forcibly remove, you understand, Carmelo Anthony from that tent. Now watch this. And I believe y'all should know where I'm going with this, right? I'm gonna type in now watch this. Hold on, I'm gonna share my 3 people approached him, including his brother. Okay. So Officer 5K, not as I've said, 3 people approached him, as well as his brother, right? Now, understand this, right? This Caucasian young fellow, Austin Metcalf, this dude was about 6'1", 213 pounds, and I believe he was a student athlete. Now, me, myself, I'm not a short brother by no means. You understand? But this 6'1" high school kid is taller than me. You understand? And I'm not sure how big he is compared to I'm not sure how larger he is in stature than the brother Carmelo Anthony. But what I do know is they are saying that he was significantly bigger than Carmelo Anthony. You understand? This is what the witnesses says. On top of that, Carmelo Anthony was sitting down when he was approached by 3 people, as well as this Caucasian and his brother, right? Now watch this. I'm going to share my screen one more time, right? So I typed in, what is considered kidnapping? Kidnapping is the unlawful taking, confinement, or transportation of a person against their will, often involving force, threats, or deception with the intent to control, harm, or exploit the victim. So now, with that being said, this Caucasian Austin Metcalf, he literally tried to kidnap Carmelo Anthony according to the law. Now, right? Let me see. Let's get this straight. Is Texas a stand your ground state? Yes. Texas is a stand your ground state, allowing individuals to defend themselves without a duty to retreat when lawfully present and not engaged in criminal activity. So the brother Carmelo Anthony was not engaging in criminal activity, nor did he have a duty to retreat after this young Caucasian tyrant attempted to kidnap him in trying to remove him from a tent by force, you understand, without Carmelo's consent. So now, with that being said, Carmelo had every right to defend himself and stand his ground with lethal force, with deadly force, seeing as this Caucasian tyrant, you understand, this young Caucasian tyrant tried to literally kidnap this brother. You understand? But then the brother, of course, because the white man is the devil and the odds and the system is stacked against the children of Israel, he gets found guilty and receives 35 years. Meanwhile, you got another brother, you understand, out there in what was that, South Carolina? The young brother Cyrus. Let me get his last name. And it's important to say these brothers' names. You understand? What was his last name? What was the Moabite offender? What was his name? Give me 1 second. Cyrus Carmack Belton. You understand? This brother, right? A young brother, I believe, man, only 14 years old. You understand? This brother was unalived, right? Let's get this perpetrator's name. You understand? This young brother was, first of all, falsely accused of stealing the water, right? He was falsely accused of stealing the water, right? Then he was chased down, right, by Cheeky Rick Child and Child's son. You understand? More than 100 yards away from this store. You understand? Shot in the back, unalived. You understand? And the perpetrator of this was found not guilty. Mind you, this young brother was shot in the back. They never found any water on him that he was accused of stealing from the store. And then they say they found a gun on him, which I believe, my theory is they had they had all intentions to kill this young brother or to unalive this young brother, and took a throwaway gun that they probably bought from somebody from the neighborhood and planted it on the brother, because the Moabite son literally said that the brother Cyrus pulled out a gun and pointed it at them. He looked at his father. His father told him to put the gun down and then shot him. That makes no sense. It ain't no way in hell I could point a gun at somebody and you shoot me in the back for me to drop the gun. I have to be standing in front of you in order to point a gun and aim it at you, in order for you to feel like I'm a threat to you. You understand? It makes no sense. He literally got up there on that stand and said Cyrus pointed a gun at them and then his father shot him. That's impossible, because they shot the young brother in the back. A 14-year-old at that. What was that other case that we seen? You got it? Yeah, that one. Yeah. Huh. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to find this other article. One second. Let me see. I think I know. Cason Allison. Right? Let's look up the case of Cason Allison. Okay, let me share my screen with y'all real quick. Let's look up the case of Cason Allison, right? Mind you, this is Texas too, right? Texas jury returns verdict in 2022 stabbing death of high school classmate. A jury has decided to face a fate of a Texas teen who was charged with allegedly stabbing his high school classmate to death. High school classmate to death in a bathroom in 2022, finding him not guilty of murder and guilty of criminally negligent homicide, which is basically manslaughter. All right. After being unable to reach a verdict on Monday in Tablin Court till Tuesday, KWTX reported that a Bell County jury announced that they did not find Cason Allison guilty of murder in the stabbing death of Joe Ramirez at Belton High School in May 2022. Allison was released under the conditions of his bond, the outlet reported, which will remain in place until the sentencing hearing on June 16th, where he faces anywhere from 6 months to 2 years in state prison, in addition to possible fine up to $10,000. Now, what happened with this case was this Caucasian boy was fighting, you understand, one of our so-called Mexican brothers, the tribe of Issachar, you understand? And what happened was, I believe that the young Issacharite brother was getting the best of this white boy. Of course, you know, they not as strong as us. They can't deal with us. You understand? And what happened was the Caucasian boy, he pulls out a knife and commits to stabbing the brother Joe Ramirez. I think they said he's 4 times. You understand? And what happened was, of course, the brother died. Now, eventually, they found him guilty of manslaughter, which this is not a case of manslaughter. This is a clear-cut case of murder. Because if they having a fight, hand-in-hand combat, you understand? And you stab him one time to basically, you know, get him up off you, I get that. But he stabbed him multiple times. Just like the brother that just did the shooting down there in Houston, Texas. You understand? To the one of the brothers that's affiliated with NBA YoungBoy. The brother's name is All Star JR. The feds literally arrested him and indicted him on attempted murder charges because he actually stood over his victims. That's the same thing that this Caucasian boy did to Joe Ramirez during a fight. He could have stabbed him one time, backed up off him, but he didn't do that. You understand? He stabbed him a couple of more times, and the brother eventually succumbed to his injuries. Now, with this verdict, this white boy was sentenced to about 10 years in prison, right? significantly less time than the brother Carmelo Anthony was sentenced to, seeing that he got 35 years in prison. On top of that, I looked it up, right? It says Carmelo Anthony, if I'm not mistaken, he would have to do at least 17 years in prison in order for him to be eligible for parole. Now, this Caucasian boy, he only got to do 2 to 2.5 years in prison in order for him to be eligible for parole. Same, similar circumstances. 4 boys, all of the same age, same state. The black boy get 35 years, the white boy get 10 years. White boys unalives a so-called Mexican, one of our brothers from the tribe of Issachar. He get 10 years eligible for parole in 2. The brother, self-defense. You understand? This is not an active fight with the brother Carmelo Anthony, right? This is self-defense. This brother was literally trying to be dragged by force out of a tent by a young Caucasian tyrant. He defends himself, seeing that this Caucasian tyrant is significantly bigger than him, and he has a crowd around him. Defends himself, ends up unaliving this Caucasian boy in self-defense, and gets sentenced to 35 years. Meanwhile, we got a brother, Joe Ramirez, 17 at the time, I believe, unalived in a fight, not a self-defense situation, but a hand-to-hand combat fight. And he took it overboard and stabbed this brother more than one time. Joe Ramirez dies. They deem him guilty of negligent homicide or manslaughter. This Caucasian boy gets 10 years. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Of course, let's go to the scripts. And blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, understand this, right? Our people are subjected to the mistreatment, the injustice that America has to offer us, as long as we don't come back to the law, statutes, and commandments that the Lord told us to keep. As long as we continue to get high off the philosophy of being an American, these type of things will continue to happen to our sons and daughters. And it's evil as hell. You understand? Unfortunately, the Christian church has lied to you and told you to join hand in hand with your oppressor. Huh? I just gave y'all 3 different incidents. You understand? Within what? A 5-year span of 3 of our brothers losing their lives. 2 of them physically losing their life, and no justice is to be had. You understand? The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Get about them churches and come into this ISUBK under Commander General Yana. Of course, let's go to these scriptures. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 1, and it reads, "So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter." That's us, blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You understand? We up under all of these oppressions, all like we up under the most. That's right. The most diabolical, you understand, group of people that done all of the oppressions you can think of under the sun to blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And look at the tears that we cry day in and day out. Justice for Cyrus. Justice for Joe Ramirez. You understand? The injustice that happened to our brother Carmelo Anthony. You understand? At the hands of these tyrants. At the hands of these oppressors. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed. And they had no comforter. We don't have a comforter in this empire. You understand? When you live in a world where you have no hope, the Christian church ain't no damn comforter for these mothers that's losing their children. You understand? They still want you to pay tithes. You understand? They like your Christian pastor is literally gonna set up a GoFundMe, right? In order for him to get some money off of you burying your son and having a funeral service at his church. These filthy, slimy, wicked bastards. They not your comforters. Christ is your comforter, though. You understand? The ISUBK under Commanding General Hana is that place of refuge for these brothers and sisters that lose their children untimely. You understand? I'm going to read on. And on the side of their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter. On the side of our oppressors, it's power. Like, you literally can see pictures, right? Of, what's his name? Austin Metcalf. There is literally pictures with his father in pictures with the district attorney on that case and the judge that presided over that case. And they smiling and happy like they've been friends for years. And this picture was already in circulation before this incident ever happened. That's why this brother got 35 years. That's why he was found guilty of murder. They literally chopped it up like, look, we're going to get some justice for your brother. We're going to make sure that nigga pays for what he did to your brother. Salakia. Wherefore, I praise the dead, which are already dead, more than the living, which are yet alive. You understand? Look at all of the murder that we have to suffer in this empire. You understand? All of our brothers that went to the grave unjustly, and no justice is to be had. You understand? That's why these brothers are saying, wherefore I praise the dead, which are already dead, more than the living, which are yet alive. Because these brothers have had no justice for the death and destruction that they have received at the hands of this empire. Yea, better is he than both they, which have not yet been, who have not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Yeah. When you perish and you're unalived, you understand? It feels like you're in a better position because you cease to see this social injustice that goes on with blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians at the hands of our oppressors. You understand? Like these brothers are literally saying that it's better off to be dead than to live in an empire where you're being oppressed by people who don't give a damn about you, by people who don't give a damn about your brothers and sisters dying and receiving no justice, or you being able to defend yourself and then going to prison for the rest of your life. You understand? Because of it. Again, I consider all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. Salakia, I'm gonna drop that. Let me get First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 10. The book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 10. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? You understand? Not only are we talking about the unaliving of our brothers by Caucasians, but we also talking about the unaliving of our brothers by Asian people. And then it says, I'm going to read that again. It says, what nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? What was his name? Rick Chow? What we find out? Or this damn Moabite Rick Chow, he owned about 15 businesses in that city alone. This nigga owned Chinese food spots, other gas stations, laundromats. He's very rich. And where you think all his businesses is at? In the black community. Because he's part of them nations that have gotten of our spoils, that had a part in our kingdom. That's what it means to have a part in your kingdom and gotten of your spoils, meaning you being destroyed and spoiled, and all of the riches that come from your nation are given unto another people. And these other people reap the benefits off of you being spoiled. That's what it's talking about. All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave. That's you, blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. We're supposed to be free. But we become a bond slave to the rest of these nations. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. You understand? Of course, that's speaking about the temple. You understand? Or the safe haven for blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians back in the land of Jerusalem. But what is supposed to be our sanctuary in this land of our enemies? The black community. This is supposed to be a place where we safe. This is supposed to be a place where our sons and daughters can play in the streets and nobody harms them. But you know what happens? A brother can go to the store, decide that he don't want a bottle of water, put it back, be accused of stealing, run away in fear of his life, and to be unalived. And the people that unalive him, just because he ran away in fear of his life, even though he didn't steal anything, they can get off scot-free and continue to have a part in our neighborhood and reap the benefit off of our spoils. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Right, Tazaba. Yabashim. Businesses and chasing down someone for an 89 bottle of water. It's disgusting. You understand? It's like we get Zechariah 11 and 5. The book of Zechariah, chapter 11 and verse 5. Salagi, bear with me. I'm moving kind of slow. It says, I'll start at verse 4. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter. That's what the ISUBK does under Commander General Yohana. We're feeding the flock of the slaughter. We feeding you with that manna from heaven, or that bread that's going to allow you to live. And what is that bread? That's the truth according to the scriptures. That's us giving you your culture, your heritage, showing you who you are and who you are not. Verse 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Did they not slay the brother Joe Ramirez and was found not guilty? What wasn't Cyrus, you understand, slayed, and the person that unalived him found not guilty? They that sell them say, and they that sell them, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's the one that sells us. and say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. Look on your money. Don't it say, in God we trust? How did America get all of this wealth? Slavery, bondage, rape, robbery, murder of the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. And they say they rich, and blessed be the Lord. And it says, and their own shepherds pity them not. Who was our shepherds? T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar. You understand? The ones that's supposed to keep the lost sheep out of harm's way. Bishop Eddie Long. You understand? Every goddamn pastor you've ever seen in your life. Niggas like Louis Farrakhan, which Louis Farrakhan is a goddamn Edomite, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. These leaders are supposed to be our shepherds, and they don't pity us. You understand? They don't pity us at all. Verse 6, for I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith Yahweh. But lo, I will deliver the men, every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them. And I will feed the flock of slaughter, even you, O poor of the flock. And I took unto me 2 staves, the one I call beauty, and the other I call bands, and I fed the flock. See, that's the Lord giving us justice in the end times. You understand? The scriptures say, he that endureth until the end, I'm paraphrasing, the same shall inherit the kingdom. You understand? Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. In order to curb your oppression, in order to halt it, you ain't going to stop it altogether because we suffer up under these curses. But in order to make your oppression feel that less harsh, it's very important to come into the ISUBK under Commander General Rihanna. You know why? Because the ways out of oppression is to obey the man that put you in oppression. Obey the same God that served you up for captivity in order to correct you because you went against what the Lord told you to do. You got to come back into his good graces. See, the Lord repents of the evil that he does for the children of Israel many times. He was going to destroy Nineveh. Stopped it. He was literally going to kill the children, unalive the whole nation of Israel and start a whole nation with Moses. But you know what? Moses spoke up for the children of Israel. And the Lord was like, okay, I got you, Moses. Because Moses obeyed the Most High God at that time. You understand? And it's the same thing with us. Come into the ISUBK under Commander General Rihanna, and you will see your life change overnight. Now, of course, your family members, they might still have to suffer them curses that the Lord put on us. But as a priest and a prophet of the Lord, we take an oath to go out there and tell the children of Israel what they are to do and what they're not supposed to do. So, let me go to Isaiah 58:1. Medicine don't taste good, but it definitely cures you. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, and verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. That's what we do in the ISUBK. Not because we feel like we better than the rest of blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. No, it's because we used to be like you. We tired of our sons and daughters being murdered in the streets unjustly. We tired of our people dying from all of these diseases and drug overdoses and drug deals going bad, and our sisters whoring themselves out in strip clubs. We tired of that shit. You understand? Like, you got men in the ISUBK that used to live the street life. They used to live a life of unrighteousness. You understand? A life of just being filthy and evil, exactly how America has taught us. But now when you come into the ISUBK, it don't make your oppression lighter, but it makes life easier. We still got to go to work. We still short on funds all the time. Brothers lose money. You understand? Brothers late on bills. Sometimes we got to lean on each other to get a couple dollars to feed the family. Or brother might lean on you for a couple dollars to feed his family. That's what brotherhood is about. And if you come into the truth under Commander General Yohana, you're not going to suffer alone. But I tell you what else is going to happen. You don't got to worry about your sons and daughters being murdered if you hold on to this truth. You don't have to worry about your people in your household being slaughtered. You understand? Or you going to the store and being encountered by a racist police officer and him taking your life. When you come into the ISBK under Commander General Yohana, this is you repairing your relationship back with the Lord so he can put his protection back around you. Salakia. Let me give y'all a little bit of history. Niggas been going to jail for shit we ain't do. There's nothing new under the sun. Go to Genesis, the 39th chapter. Wasn't Christ arrested for something he ain't do? The book of Genesis, chapter 39 and verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar and Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he's overseer of his house, and all that he put in his hand. See, the Lord was with Joseph. And even though Joseph is in a situation to where he's basically in slavery to these Egyptians, the simple fact that Joseph was a upright and righteous brother, the Lord was with him. And Joseph found grace in the sight of the man that was in charge of him, or his slave master. And the Lord allowed Joseph to be prosperous in Egypt. See, Joseph was like a LeBron James, or somebody that was living in the empire of Egypt that wasn't an Egyptian, but was of the upper echelon, you understand, of the people that wasn't of the people of the land, if you catch my drift. This brother was a wealthy cat. You understand? Somebody that had great responsibility. And the reason why he was like that was not because he wanted to be like these Egyptians, not because he made a pact and a covenant with these Egyptians. No, the reason why he was prosperous and he lived a good life at the beginning in Egypt is because the Lord was with him, because Joseph was a righteous brother. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. So this Egyptian cat trusted Joseph so much, he didn't even give a damn about the daily affairs of his business. He didn't care about none of that. Only thing he cared about was the food that he ate. Everything running right, Joseph? Yes, sir. Go ahead, Joseph. Carry on. He didn't give a damn about that. He trusted Joseph. You understand? And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? This is the integrity of a brother Joseph. He said, look, your husband don't even know how much money I'm making for him. He gave me everything in his house except for you. Now, why would I go ahead and sleep with you and sin against God? He didn't give a damn about sleeping with her because of the integrity that he have towards this Egyptian cat. He had integrity as a man because these are the laws that the children of Israel live by. You understand? And it came to pass, and she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. So this broad was harassing Joseph every goddamn day. Let's get back. I'm cool. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. This broad literally tried to molest Joseph. Literally. She rocked up on him and pulled on his garment and tried to force him to have sex with her. And he got up out of there. Verse 14, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. This bitch lied on Joseph. She literally lied on this brother, accused him of something that he didn't do. Verse 16, and she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. So he was hella mad. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, and a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it prosper. So the Lord had mercy on this brother Joseph, being a righteous brother. You understand? Y'all give it some time. This brother Carmelo Anthony, I guarantee you he's going to be exonerated. You understand? Because this brother stood his ground and stood up for racism. He stood up for social injustice and the mistreatment of black people as a whole. You understand? We're going to get some more scriptures. I'm going to go ahead and end it off with that, right? But just a couple of definitely honorable mentions of brothers that went to jail, you understand, in these scriptures. That was the children of Israel, you understand, for false accusations. Of course, Joseph, you understand, we got Jeremiah, Micaiah, of course, John the Baptist, who was actually imprisoned for doing a righteous thing, for calling out adultery, you understand, and ultimately he was beheaded. Paul, you understand, Paul and Silas, John the Baptist, and of course Christ, who Pontius Pilate deemed to be innocent. As a matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Let's go to Luke, the 23rd chapter. Get that real quick. Blacks, Latinos, Native Indians, understand this. The atrocities that was committed against us in the days of old, they still are alive and well. Beware of it and understand this. Without being in the truth, the Lord's protection is very limited to you. Very limited. Luke chapter 23. 23 and verse 1. And the whole multitude of them arose and led him unto Pilate, speaking of Christ. And they began to accuse him, saying, we found this fellow perverting the nation and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself is Christ, a king. They line like an MFer. They asked him about taxes. He said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Verse 3. And Pilate asked him, saying, art thou the king of the Jews? And he answered and said, thou sayest. Then said Pilate to the chief priests and to the people, I find no fault in this man. I'm going to read that again. Leviticus 23 and 4. Then Pilate said to the chief priests and to the people, I find no fault in this man. Pontius Pilate was essentially the judge. And he himself said, I find no fault in this man. You understand? Blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians, understand this. If you are righteous, the Lord will be an enemy to your enemies. Our justice only comes from the Lord. Matter of fact, Salakia, I got one more script and I'm going to end it. Proverbs 26 and 29. I think that's what I want. No, Proverbs 20 and 26. Oh, no, is this what I want? Hold on, select here. I think it's 29 and 26. Give me 1 second. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29 and verse 26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment cometh from the Lord. You might seek a judge's favor or a king's favor, but every man's judgment comes from the Lord. An unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked. Your judgment comes from the Lord, as well as justice comes from the Lord. With that being said, I'm gonna go in and y'all brought a thumb to the brothers. Y'all Shamar the thumb by Shimmy, shout out to the sisters. Shalom, Israel.